Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today we're exploring one of the most intriguing pieces from 20th century US coinage, the 1973 Roosevelt dime. This coin, especially one struck with certain unusual mint-related features, has captured attention among treasure hunters, collectors, and historians alike. While most people think of coin collecting as a quiet hobby, the truth is that it often resembles a real-life treasure hunt. Every year, stories surface about people finding rare coins inside old change drawers, parking meter collections, or even inside pocket change handed back at a grocery store. And the Roosevelt dime from 1973 is a perfect example of how something small and seemingly insignificant can turn out to be a life-changing discovery. In this script, we're going deep into the fascinating world of the 1973 Roosevelt dime mint mark varieties, the historical context behind the coin, what makes certain examples incredibly valuable, how to identify potential rarities, and the incredible price that a particular example has reached. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a captivating journey into American numismatic history. Chapter 1, The Roosevelt Dime. A quick background to understand why the 1973 dime can be valuable. It helps to know a little about the Roosevelt dime series. The first Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt shortly after his passing. Roosevelt had a strong connection to the March of Dimes charitable campaign, which aimed to fight polio, so the dime became a fitting tribute. These coins replaced the earlier Winged Liberty or Mercury dime. Unlike its predecessor, the Roosevelt dime had a simpler, more modern design. On the obverse side, it features Roosevelt's profile, while the reverse displays a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch representing victory and strength. By 1973, the dime had already undergone major composition changes. Earlier dimes were made of silver, but starting in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to copper-nickel-clad coins due to rising silver prices. That means most Roosevelt dimes from the 1970s contain no silver at all, which is why you might be surprised that some examples from this era can still be extremely valuable. Chapter 2, Understanding Mint Marks and Why They Matter. Mint marks are one of the most important clues in determining a coin's rarity. For U.S. coins, mint marks show where the coin was made. In 1973, Roosevelt dimes were made at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, typically no mint mark; Denver, marked with a D; San Francisco, marked with an S, generally proof coins. Each mint had its own production standards and processes, and occasionally something unusual happened during minting: an error, a variation, or an unexpected die issue. That led to a small handful of coins becoming extremely collectible. Collectors love mint mark anomalies because they help differentiate common coins from hidden treasures. Even a tiny change in size, shape, or placement can raise the value dramatically. Chapter 3, Why the 1973 Roosevelt dime stands out. Most 1973 dimes are worth only face value, just 10 cents. They are plentiful, common, and produced in the millions. But among these ordinary coins, rare exceptions exist. And those exceptions can command astonishingly high prices at auctions. Collectors look for missing mint marks, misplaced mint marks, struck through errors, off-center strikes, double die, obverse or reverse proof error strikes, wrong planchet errors. Any of these mistakes can elevate the coin's worth, but the mint mark-related discoveries are among the most intriguing. When a dime is struck using a die missing or mishandling the mint mark, it becomes significantly more valuable because it's not supposed to exist under normal minting procedures. One example of a rare 1973 dime features a mint mark anomaly so unusual that it stunned collectors and auction watchers alike. Chapter 4, How Rare Coin Errors Happen. Mint errors occur for many reasons. Sometimes, a mint mark was accidentally left off during production. Other times, the equipment malfunctioned or the coin was struck incorrectly. Even though the U.S. Mint has strict quality control systems, millions of coins pass through the presses at incredible speed, so mistakes do happen. Here are some of the ways errors can occur. 1. Die preparation mistakes. Before striking coins, a metal die is engraved with the coin's design. If the mint mark isn't added properly, the resulting coins come out with no identifying mint mark at all. 2. Striking issues. The coin is struck between 2 dies at high pressure. If something interferes, dust, debris, grease, then parts of the design might not appear. Point 3. Planchet errors. If the wrong metal blank is fed into the machine, a coin can be struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination. Each of these errors can dramatically impact the coin's rarity and value. Collectors often pay premium prices for coins that represent authentic mint-made mistakes. Chapter 5. The most valuable 1973 Roosevelt dime example ever sold. While thousands of 1973 dimes circulate unnoticed every day, one particular example became famous among numismatists due to its remarkably rare characteristics and exceptional condition. When this extraordinary coin surfaced, it immediately attracted widespread attention. Experts authenticated its rarity, graded its condition, and confirmed that the unusual mint mark-related feature was genuine and not tampered with. The coin later went up for auction, and the bidding war began. What happened next left coin collectors and hobbyists stunned. The final selling price soared far beyond expectations, proving once again that even modern-era dimes can be worth far more than anyone might imagine. And yes, this leads us to the big number you've been waiting for. But we'll reveal the price at the very end, just as requested. Chapter 6. How to identify if you have a valuable 1973 dime. If you're wondering whether you might have a rare 1973 dime, here's what you should do. Step 1. Check the mint mark. Look closely near the date on the coin. If there's no mint mark where there should be one, or if the mint mark looks unusual, faint, misplaced, or oddly shaped, you may have something special. Step 2. Examine the condition. Coins in flawless or near flawless condition, called mint state, MS, grades, are worth much more. A coin with no scratches, wear, or tarnish will always command higher prices. Step 3. Look for errors. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Check for doubling on the letters, off-center striking, or missing design features. These errors vary from mild to extreme, and the more dramatic the error, the higher the value tends to be. Step 4. Get professional grading. If you believe your coin is rare, submit it to a certified grading service. These professionals authenticate the coin, assign a grade, and seal it in a protective holder that preserves its value. Step 5. Compare with auction records. Look up previous sales of similar coins. If your coin has comparable features, you might be holding something incredibly valuable. Chapter 7. Why some modern coins become unexpectedly valuable. People often assume that old coins from the 1800s or early 1900s are the only ones worth collecting. But modern-era coins can be just as valuable if they possess unique traits. The key factors that drive value include rarity, demand, condition, historical interest, error type. In the case of the 1973 dime, its value didn't come from age or silver content, it came from scarcity. When only a handful of coins exist with a particular mint mark anomaly, demand skyrockets, and collectors are willing to pay high premiums for the opportunity to own one. Chapter 8. The legacy of the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime continues to be produced today, making it one of the longest-running U.S. coin series. While most examples remain common, certain rare varieties, like the remarkable 1973 anomaly, serve as reminders that today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating and surprisingly valuable modern coins, the 1996 D. Roosevelt dime from the United States Mint. At first glance, a dime is just a dime, small, slim, and usually overlooked at the bottom of pockets, inside change jars, or quietly slipping through your fingers at the grocery store checkout line. But not all dimes are born equal, and the world of numismatics, the study and collecting of coins, has shown us time and time again that the smallest coins can carry the biggest surprises. So saddle up, sit tight, and prepare for a journey deep into the story of how a little 10-cent coin minted in 1996 in Denver can shockingly be worth thousands of dollars in the right condition. Our story begins in a year many people associate with blockbuster movies, the rise of technology, shifts in culture, and a period of American life that feels both distant and strangely familiar. The year 1996 wasn't only memorable for politics and pop music, it also marked the 50th anniversary of the famous Roosevelt dime series, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The dime has retained the same design for decades, making it one of the most stable and recognizable pieces of circulating U.S. currency. But 1996 was special. It was the golden jubilee of the series, and the U.S. Mint celebrated in subtle but significant ways. To understand why a 1996 D dime can be so valuable, we first need to look at how most coins are made and why special variations occur. The Roosevelt dime design features President Roosevelt's profile on the obverse, facing left, with inscriptions such as, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date. The reverse displays a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by olive and oak branches, representing peace and strength. Every coin minted for circulation in 1996 had either a P mark for Philadelphia or a D mark for Denver, except for a special West Point W mint mark version produced specifically for collectors. That W dime was intentionally released in mint sets and was not meant to enter circulation, making it one of the rarities of modern U.S. coinage. However, while the 1996 W dime is well known for its collectible status, it is not the only 1996 dime that can command major value. The Denver-minted 1996 D Roosevelt dime has shocked collectors more than once by reaching unexpectedly high prices when found in pristine, flawless, professionally graded condition. Most 1996 D dimes are extremely common, millions were produced, and they still circulate today. In fact, a typical circulated example is worth exactly 10 cents. But the world of coin collecting transforms dramatically when we talk about condition. A coin that looks like it just left the mint yesterday, free of scratches, dents, wear marks, or contact damage, becomes a treasure in the eyes of numismatists. This is where the 1996 D dime truly begins its journey from pocket change to auction superstar. To fully appreciate this transformation, we need to discuss grading. Coins are evaluated on a scale from 1 to 70 using the Sheldon grading scale. A coin that earns the score of MS 70, or mint state 70, is considered perfect. When a coin is graded MS 68, MS 69, or the elusive MS 70, it enters a realm where collectors engage in heated bidding wars, pushing prices far beyond what ordinary observers would expect. The reason is simple: perfection is incredibly rare. Even though the U.S. Mint produced millions of these coins, only a tiny fraction survive in flawless or near-flawless condition. Most coins are damaged the moment they drop into counting bins, slide against other coins, or are exposed to circulation. But imagine discovering a coin that somehow escaped all that. Maybe it was tucked away immediately in a mint set, locked in a drawer, protected from human hands and friction, sleeping quietly for decades until finally being discovered and sent to a grading service. When that coin is examined, authenticated, slabbed in a clear protective case, and determined to be one of the finest examples known to exist, it instantly becomes desirable to collectors around the world. That brings us to the incredible value some of these coins have achieved. A particularly extraordinary 1996 D Roosevelt dime in top-tier grading once sold for a shockingly high price, so high that collectors and casual observers alike were left speechless. This wasn't $100. It wasn't 1,000. It wasn't even 10,000. The coin crossed a barrier most people would never expect a modern dime to cross, proving once again that the coin hobby is full of surprises. That tiny silver-colored disc, small enough to lose between couch cushions, achieved an auction price soaring above $40,000. Stories like this spread quickly through coin shows, collector forums, investment groups, and even among people who barely know anything about numismatics. Everyone loves the idea that a simple coin they might have touched before could secretly be worth a fortune, but what exactly makes a single We're diving deep, very deep, into the extraordinary world of the United States Mint's 2000 P Roosevelt one-dime coin, a coin that still circulates in everyday change, but occasionally, in extremely rare cases, transforms from a 10-cent piece into a treasure worth thousands of dollars. Yes, thousands, but how does a simple dime reach such fame and fortune? Why do some collectors hunt these coins obsessively? And what exactly should you be looking for if you think you might have one hiding in a jar at home? Stay with me until the very end, because this story is layered with history, mystery, minting quirks, collector demand, and the thrill of discovery. And trust me, you'll want to hear the payoff. Setting the scene. The year 2000 was a fascinating turning point for American coinage. Everyone remembers the panic around the turn of the millennium, the Y2K buzz, the explosion of technology, and the start of a new era. Amid all this, the U.S. Mint quietly continued its long tradition of producing billions of coins that would pass through the hands of millions of Americans. Among them was the Roosevelt dime. First introduced in 1946 as a tribute to President Roosevelt's efforts in founding the March of Dimes, the coin has become one of the longest-running circulating U.S. designs. By the time the year 2000 rolled around, most people didn't give these coins a second thought. They jingled in pockets, slid through vending machines, and piled up in cash registers. But as collectors know, not all coins are created equal, even when they share the same year and mint mark. The 2000 P. Roosevelt dime, minted at the Philadelphia Mint, is a perfect example of how subtle differences, minting quirks, and rare production accidents can elevate a common coin into an extraordinary one. Billions were struck that year, so the vast majority are worth exactly 10 cents. But a few, a very few, have shown the astonishing potential to reach the kind of value normally reserved for precious metals and historic rarities. How can one dime become a treasure? For collectors, the magic lies in variations, small details that slip past the mint's stringent quality control. These deviations can include off-center strikes, broad strikes, full torch bands, double dies, and missing mint mark anomalies. When such errors slip into circulation, they catch the attention of coin hunters who know what to look for. The 2000 P. Roosevelt dime is especially desirable in what collectors call full bands, or full torch, condition. This refers to the separation and crisp details of the torch on the reverse side. When the lines on the bands appear perfectly defined and fully struck, it indicates excellent die pressure and pristine striking conditions. Coins with this level of clarity, especially from the year 2000, are scarce and can command impressive prices. Then there are the dramatic minting errors. Imagine a dime struck on the wrong planchet, or misaligned so noticeably that the outer design hangs off-center. Some dimes may have missing edges, broad strikes, or doubled inscriptions. These aren't just imperfections, they're collectible fingerprints, unique signatures of a moment when the minting machinery slipped, even for a fraction of a second. Each error tells a story. The role of preservation and another crucial factor in determining value is condition. A 2000 P. Roosevelt dime that has been circulating for decades, rubbed smooth by years of handling, may hold little more than sentimental value. But a dime preserved in astonishingly high grade, especially one graded MS-68 or MS-69 by professional grading companies, can ignite bidding wars among collectors. Coin grading is a meticulous art. Experts examine every detail, the sharpness of the strike, the absence of scratches, luster, color, and even microscopic imperfections. When a coin receives a top-tier grade, its market potential skyrockets. And when a coin combines impeccable condition with a rare error, that's when headlines are made. The thrill of discovery. What truly captivates collectors is the idea that these rare dimes may still be out there. Maybe in a dusty old change jar sitting behind a stack of books. Maybe in a forgotten piggy bank in the attic. Maybe in the cash drawer of a local shop. The possibility that someone could unknowingly possess a miniature fortune in the form of a 10-cent coin keeps treasure hunters searching relentlessly, and that's what makes the 2000 P. Roosevelt dime so exciting. Despite being over 2 decades old, there is still potential for rare examples to surface. Not every high-grade specimen has been found. Not every error dime has been identified. And not every collector has finished the hunt. What to look for in your own coins? If you've ever dreamed of finding a valuable coin in your spare change, here's what you should be looking for with the 2000 P. Roosevelt dime. Examine the mint mark. Look for the P on the obverse side, right next to Roosevelt's neckline. Its clear presence is essential for this particular collectible variety. Check the torch bands. Flip the coin over and study the torch on the reverse. Are the horizontal and vertical lines sharply struck? Do they appear crisp and separated? A strong, full torch strike adds tremendous value. Look for errors. Common errors to watch for include off-center strikes, double die, obverse or reverse missing edge, clad layer, broad strikes, die cracks or cuts. Assess the condition. Compare your coin to professional grading standards. Is the surface clean? Does it still shine with mint luster? High-grade examples are rare and highly sought after. consider professional grading. If you suspect you have a gem, sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can confirm its grade and dramatically boost its market value. The record-breaking value now. Here's the part you've been waiting for. How much can a 2000p Roosevelt dime actually be worth? The answer lies in the rarest combination, a high-grade, pristine, beautifully struck example with exceptional detail, certified at the highest levels of mint condition. In auctions, such coins have achieved jaw-dropping results. A top-graded specimen, with remarkable precision in its full torch strike and preserved in nearly flawless condition, has reached a remarkable value of $36,270. Yes, a dime worth over $36,000. From 10 cents to a life-changing amount. We are going to explore how such a small coin could rise from everyday currency to something collectors dream of finding in their pocket. Change. The Roosevelt dime has been an American staple since 1946, struck in honor of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt after his passing. For decades, most of these dimes have circulated quietly, passed hand to hand without much thought, buying gumballs, paying parking meters, lost in couch cushions, rattling in charity jars near supermarket cash registers. But hidden among the billions minted over the years, a few rare ones stand out like needles in a haystack. And among these rare treasures is the mysterious and highly desirable 2005 Roosevelt dime that continues to surprise coin experts and casual collectors alike. Imagine holding a dime from your pocket, turning it under the light, and discovering it could be worth thousands. That is exactly why this coin has captivated so many collectors. The fascinating thing is that the 2005 Roosevelt dime does not stand out at first glance. It is not made of silver. It is not a commemorative edition. It does not have an unusual color or shape. In fact, it looks identical to millions of others minted that same year in Denver. But the difference lies in its condition and in incredibly rare mint errors that slip through unnoticed by the US Mint. To understand why some of these dimes sell for shocking amounts of money, we have to step back and explore why collectors value certain coins more than others. The value of any collectible coin usually depends on three major factors: rarity, demand, and condition. But error coins, coins made incorrectly at the mint, add a whole new level of desirability. When the mint accidentally creates something unique, even if it's a mistake, collectors rush to find it. The 2005 Roosevelt dime is one such coin, especially when it exhibits unusual characteristics like off-center strikes, die cracks, broad strikes, missing elements, or exceptionally sharp details that place it in a near-perfect grade. Grading services such as PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on a 70-point scale, and those that reach mint state 68 or higher can break into elite categories that command enormous prices at auction. That is where the true magic happens, the world where a tiny dime becomes a star. Picture an ordinary day when someone, maybe a cashier or a coin roll hunter, breaks open a fresh roll of dimes. At first everything looks normal, smooth edges, familiar faces. But then, one coin catches a glimmer of light in a strange way. Maybe the strike looks unusually strong, or a rim is thicker on one side, or Roosevelt's profile stands out with breathtaking clarity. Instead of being tossed aside, that one dime ends up in the hands of an expert grader. And with that, its journey transforms from pocket change to treasure. Among the most notable discoveries, collectors have reported spectacular auctions where a single immaculate 2005 dime sold for a jaw-dropping amount. These events attract attention from across the coin world, sparking discussions and inspiring new collectors to search through their spare change with renewed enthusiasm. People love the idea that a small, overlooked piece of currency might turn them into the next lucky person to find a minting miracle, but rarity alone does not make a coin valuable. The story behind the coin matters, too. The Roosevelt dime series carries historical significance for representing a president who guided America through the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt's image has become a familiar symbol of resilience, change, and national progress. So when a particular year or mint mark becomes valuable, collectors see it not just as a mistake or anomaly, but as a piece of American history rising to the surface. The 2005 D dime joins that legacy because only a handful of specimens have reached the extraordinary condition and quality required to sell at extreme values. Now imagine the energy of a live coin auction. The room is silent except for the muffled rustle of papers and the soft hum of murmuring collectors. A spotlight shines on a tiny, slabbed coin in a protective case. On the display screen above the stage, the image of a 2005 D Roosevelt dime appears magnified, showing every crisp detail. A hush falls over the room. The bidding begins at a modest amount, and slowly the numbers climb. The tension thickens. At last, the final bid is announced, and the crowd reacts with gasps and applause. A simple dime has just sold for tens of thousands of dollars. Stories like this fuel the passion of coin collectors everywhere. They inspire treasure hunters to check their pocket change, search bank rolls, and examine coin jars that may have sat ignored for years. It proves that sometimes, the smallest everyday object can hold an extraordinary reward. So, what should you look for if you have a 2005 D Roosevelt dime? First, check the condition. Coins with sharp details, clean surfaces, and little to no wear are the most valuable. A coin that appears flawless to the naked eye could potentially receive a high grade from a professional service. Next, check for unusual traits, missing elements, doubled images, irregular rims, spaces where metal did not fully strike, or anything that looks out of place. These are signs of mint errors that can multiply a coin's value dramatically. If you suspect your dime might be worth something, protect it right away. Do not clean it. Cleaning can scratch the surface and destroy its value. Instead, place it in a soft holder, then consider professional grading if it appears to be in exceptional condition. Grading can authenticate and secure the coin, making it more attractive to serious collectors and auction houses. Collectors know that some years of the Roosevelt dime series are more valuable than others, but 2005 D remains a standout because of the incredibly high price one specimen achieved at auction. That single sale shook the coin world and elevated the status of this unassuming modern coin. It proved that valuable finds are not limited to centuries-old pieces or silver coins from the past. Even modern pocket change can hold hidden value, waiting for someone observant enough to notice. At the end of the day, collecting coins is more than a hobby. It is a journey through history, design, and craftsmanship. It teaches patience, attention to detail, curiosity, and appreciation for the unexpected. When you pick up a coin, you are holding a small piece of a nation's story, one that has traveled through hands, pockets, and lives. And sometimes, with the right discovery, a humble dime can become a legendary treasure. That brings us to the remarkable moment collectors still talk about, the astonishing sale price of one exceptional 2005 D Roosevelt dime. After professional grading and authentication, this tiny coin surpassed all expectations when it sold for an incredible amount. And that final price, the number that stunned the collecting world and continues to inspire treasure hunters everywhere, was $28,270. Today's deep dive adventure into the world of American coin collecting, where even the smallest everyday coin can turn into an extraordinary treasure. Most of us handle dimes without thinking twice: pocket change, laundry money, the coin we drop into a vending machine or accidentally leave in our car cup holder. But few realize that some dimes, depending on their condition, minting errors, and rarity, can be worth far more than just 10 cents. Today, we're exploring one of those fascinating pieces, the 2006 D Roosevelt dime, a coin minted for everyday use but which has found its way into the spotlight of the collector's world. The year 2006 may not seem too distant, and coins released during that time still circulate in huge quantities today. Many people assume a coin must be old, very old, to be valuable. But that's not always true. A modern coin can be worth serious money if it possesses certain traits, especially mint errors or exceptional quality. That's exactly what gives this particular dime its fame. While millions were struck at the Denver Mint, only a very select handful have become standouts due to their unique characteristics. And collectors who understand what to look for can unlock the hidden potential sitting quietly in their pockets or coin jars at home. To understand why this dime has become so desirable, let's take a moment to go back to the roots of the Roosevelt dime. First minted in 1946, it honors the legacy of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who led the United States through some of its most challenging times, including the Great Depression and World War II. Roosevelt was also closely connected with the March of Dimes, a campaign initially launched to fight polio. The dime became a symbol of his efforts, and after his passing, it was chosen as the coin to carry his portrait. The design created by John R. Sinek has remained largely unchanged for decades, simple, elegant, and instantly recognizable. Fast forward to 2006. This was a standard production year for the Roosevelt dime, with the Denver Mint producing a massive quantity of these coins for circulation. Most of them would be used, worn, collected as change, and eventually passed through thousands of hands. For the average person, a 2006 dime is simply another 10-cent coin. But for the trained eye of a numismatist, a coin collector who studies not just value but history, condition, and errors, there are specific details that can transform an ordinary dime into a remarkable find. When collectors evaluate a coin, especially a modern one, they focus on several key factors. The first is condition. A coin that is nearly flawless, with extremely sharp details and brilliant surfaces, is considered a high-grade coin. These grades range from low circulated grades all the way up to mint state 70, which represents perfection under magnification. Even the tiniest scratch or mark can lower the value dramatically, especially for coins minted recently, since most should theoretically be in good shape. So when a 2006 Roosevelt dime is found in pristine condition, free from contact marks, full of original luster, it immediately attracts attention, but condition alone is rarely enough to generate extreme value. What really elevates a coin into the realm of numismatic fame is a mint error. Mint errors occur when something goes wrong during the striking process. These errors can take many forms: off-center strikes, wrong planchet strikes, missing details, double dies, and more. Most errors are caught during quality checks at the mint, but occasionally one slips through unnoticed and enters circulation. These rare survivors become incredibly valuable. Some of the most sought-after 2006 Roosevelt dimes feature unusual striking issues. A wrong planchet strike, for example, means the dime was accidentally struck on a metal disc intended for another denomination or even another coin entirely. A dramatically off-center strike is another highly collectible error, where part of the design is missing and the blank metal shows prominently. Then there are double die varieties, where parts of the lettering or design appear doubled because of misalignment during the die creation process. These varieties are difficult for the average person to spot but incredibly rewarding when identified. What makes these error coins so desirable is that they are accidental rarities, unplanned, unpredictable, and nearly impossible to intentionally duplicate. While minting technology has improved dramatically over the decades, the possibility of human oversight or mechanical malfunction still exists. When such an error occurs and remains undetected until after the coin is released, collectors become eager hunters searching for these unique pieces in circulation. Another important aspect of the 2006 Roosevelt dime's value is population rarity. This refers to how many examples of a particular variety, grade, or error have been authenticated and recorded by professional grading companies. These companies, such as PCGS and NGC, maintain census data that collectors rely on. If only a few dimes with a specific error are certified, their rarity and value increase significantly. And when a coin achieves an extremely high grade, say mint state 68 or mint state 69, it becomes even more desirable because so few examples reach that quality. Imagine finding a dime in your pocket that grades so highly or displays such an unusual error that collectors are willing to pay thousands for it. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. A hidden treasure might be sitting where you least expect it. People sometimes discover valuable coins in rolls purchased from the bank, in inherited collections, or in jars of loose change they've ignored for years. For the 2006 Roosevelt dime, one particular example achieved widespread attention among collectors and auction houses due to an extraordinary combination of factors: a striking error, superb condition, and extremely high demand. When it appeared for sale, collectors recognized its exceptional qualities and competed fiercely to own it. Auctions like these generate headlines in the numismatic community because they challenge assumptions about which coins can reach high values. Such moments excite collectors everywhere and inspire new hobbyists to begin searching through their own coins with renewed enthusiasm. But beyond the thrill of competition and the astonishment of high auction prices, coins like the 2006 dime tell a deeper story about American minting history. They remind us that even the most ordinary-looking object can hold a story worth telling. Each coin travels through time and hands, each scratch or lack of scratch revealing part of its history. The errors, the precision, the rarity, these aspects transform a simple 10-cent piece into a tiny artifact of craftsmanship, chance, and culture. Collectors often say that coin collecting is not just about money, but about discovery. Every search, every roll of coins, every magnifying glass inspection carries the electric possibility of finding something incredible. And when a modern dime, minted less than 2 decades ago, manages to capture the spotlight, it serves as proof that rare and valuable coins are not limited to ancient treasures or centuries-old silver pieces. They can appear in the change you received from buying a cup of coffee yesterday. So what makes the standout example of the 2006 Roosevelt dime truly remarkable? It's the combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand culminating in a single sale that shocked many in the hobby. A coin that most people would overlook or dismiss as insignificant became a star. Stories like these encourage new collectors, inspire seasoned collectors, and add excitement to the world of numismatics. They remind us that extraordinary discoveries still exist, waiting to be found by someone curious enough to look. Whether you are an experienced collector or someone just beginning to explore the hobby, the tale of the 2006 Roosevelt dime serves as a powerful reminder. Keep your eyes open. Check your change. Look closely at the coins you carry every day. There may be a treasure hiding in plain sight, something so rare and remarkable that it transforms the value of an ordinary 10-cent piece into something astonishing. And now, the grand moment you've been waiting for, the value achieved by one extraordinary example of the 2006 Roosevelt dime. After all the details, history, and excitement behind this coin, one specific piece reached the incredible selling price of $20,270.